Welcome back to episode 10 of Punching the Clock, everyone, the best MMA podcast in the entire world. And I am joined by the two best co-hosts in the entire world. We have Eric Maddie, a.k.a. Eric Maddie MMA. We've got Hayden Luz, a.k.a. Last Round Luz. And I'm Jensen Lord, a.k.a. Flagrant Sports. And we are back after a brief couple-week intermission, but we're back better than ever. We have a banger main event to talk about, some good fights on the undercard that we might sprinkle in. We have a very interesting main event to preview, and then we've got some fun little trivia questions we want to get into at the end of this podcast. But boys, how are we doing?
Doing excellent. How are you, Mr. Flagrant Sports, aka the best host in the entire planet?
Thank you. I'm all right. I've been sick for like 3 weeks, but I'm getting better. Show must go on.
I was gonna say, I've been fantastic. You guys have been playing hooky for what was just like, I'm running out of fingers at this point, guys. So, my question to you is, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, I was so scared of you, Hayden. I was running away because I was so scared that you were gonna rub in my correct prediction of Charles versus Beneil. I was scared of to be right because, frankly, you hate to see it. The good guys win. The good guys take another one.
Anybody want to take that clip? Anybody want to take that clip from last episode when he said he's the Benny guy? Yeah, we all remember that.
I think Charles is a fraud. All right. But anyways,
still, how many fights do you think he has left? Not Charles, Jensen. Was that one? So how many? You said you said like he only has a couple more at the top before his chin starts failing him or whatever. People start figuring him out.
Right. Here's the mind-blowing thing that I never realized is that like apparently. Like beating the number 3 or 4 guy in the world apparently makes you the greatest lightweight of all time, even though you don't even have the belt anymore. Apparently those wins just shift the meter. I didn't know that. Silly. I thought you had to defend titles to become the greatest. No, apparently you have to lose it and then get submitted, tap like 9 times in your career.
And your greatest barely defended his over 45. So you want to move on from that?
Dude, my goat. No, we're not going to get into this. We have a lot of stuff to talk about.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we have a Khabib argument every damn podcast?
I think so. I think it's essential to this podcast to have a Khabib or Volk argument.
Bro has a gallon of bath water sitting on his nightstand every single episode, so it's kind of hard for him to avoid it.
The audience is lucky that we did not have this podcast when Volk and Islam fought, because it would have been ugly.
Yeah.
Just wait.
3-hour episodes.
Just wait till he fights in Abu Dhabi. It's gonna get rough.
Right.
But anyways, Josh Emmett versus Ilia Topuria. Before we get into the main event, Hato, there was a certain fight you wanted to talk about real quick, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can go either way. I feel like let's go with Brendan Allen because honestly, that's my guy, right? He's been one of those guys that he kind of gets easily overlooked because people only really remember him for losing to Sean Strickland and losing to Chris Curtis, 2 southpaw boxers, right? But the thing is with him, you can tell by the way he was able to overcome adversity in that fight, he's starting to evolve and become more comfortable in that chaos. And he has a lot more reps against those southpaw strikers now, with Bruno Silva being another one that he's going up against. And he's always been a pretty right kick dominant guy to set up the hands, but I feel like his right kick has looked the best it's ever looked in that fight to set up the hands, and I feel like there was a lot of good things to say about Brendan Allen in that fight going against Bruno Silva. What did you think about that one, Eric?
That was definitely nice to see. Like, you saw some, you got some flashbacks in that fight where he got hurt or he was getting pressured by someone with really heavy hands at Bruno Silva, and he didn't fall apart, which is just such a nice sign of maturity to see in his game because, I mean, Brendan Allen's a guy that's genuinely so talented who has great wins on his resume, like in his earlier UFC, he's still young in his UFC career, obviously, but in his early UFC career, he beat good guys who went on to be, very respectable guys, like Kevin Holland, for example.
His lost his age as well.
Yeah. And, I mean, a guy who got chinned by Sean Strickland, not many people get chinned by Sean Strickland, he did, but he's so young, and then, you just can't give up on these guys, especially those guys that really, really do put in the work and that take the losses and learn from them. So even when he got hurt, he still battled through. He fought smart. He trusted his guard, which was nice to see on the feet, and just stayed really calm under fire. And in these big exchanges, found little counter strikes that changed the fight in huge ways. So it's just nice to see that maturity because his ground game is super good. As I know you were watching a lot of Allen film this week.
Yeah, he kind of had that. I don't want to compare it to that, but he kind of had a little bit of an Izzy moment, didn't he? Kind of had that rope-a-dope moment up against the
A little
cage, taking
bit.
some heavy dip, and like you said, finding those short counters, taking them off balance, and able to come back and finish in those combinations. So a lot of good things to be said about Brendan Allen. But like I said, I don't want to go as far as saying, oh, I'm not convinced that a southpaw boxer can't beat him again. But there are some things defensively he needs to clean up. But there's a lot more good things to say about him than bad. But speaking about bad, one person I really wanted to highlight is David Onama. And that was a little harsh to word like that. But I feel like a lot of people give him respect, which is well deserved. But I feel like for a lot of that fight, for as long as it lasted, he wasn't really in control. He was taking a lot of damage in southpaw. Almost every time he went southpaw, he was taking damage. He's still pretty stiff in the pocket, doesn't really move his head, relies a lot on his toughness and athleticism. I think he still has a lot of work to do. And even in the grappling, sure, he stood composed against the arm bars and stuff like that. And he had a nice reversal early in the first round. But outside of the adjustment that Santos was able to make, he got taken down another 3 times, I want to say, something along those lines. So there's a lot. I think there's a lot of cleaning up to do in his game. But with that said, what a knockout that was. Beautifully set up. What was it? The uppercut into the left hook. Beautiful setup.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what'd you think about that one, Genzi?
I only saw the highlight. I only saw like 2 fights this entire card, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, but it was a pretty sweet knockout. I'll give him that.
For sure.
Yeah, I saw the
celebration.
Yeah, I saw the main
that
event.
was one thing I wanted to touch on just before, like, you know, we were gonna edge off to it. Why did he emote so hard? Like I said, he wasn't like he was dominating that fight. It's like I didn't understand why he had to do all that. Did they have beef? And like that's more or less a question. Did they have like some type of beef in the back or something for him to do all that? Like,
just gotta hit the emote.
It was a bit weird, bit out of character.
I know, like the reason it was so cool when Adesanya did it was because, you know, the bow and arrow is literally what Pereira does.
Because
on the walkout.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's like ironic or unironic, whatever. It's cool. Anyway,
As a Fortnite player, I respect it.
Fair enough.
You have to hit the emote.
For sure.
Okay. Well, boys, let's get to the main event. Ilia Topuria, unanimous decision over Josh Emmett. Some of the scorecards were brutal. Was it 50-42? 50-43s on some of them? I don't know. Or no, was it 50-44, then a 50-42? Either way, without a doubt, a domination no matter how you score it. Boys, I know this is kind of a tough question off the top of the head, but is this the best performance so far this year from like a high-profile fight?
Dang. Is this the best performance of any high-profile fight
This year.
in a main event spotlight?
I'll tell you what, it's definitely up there for some reason. No, I think I'd probably still give the nod to Ilya, but one of my favorite ones is Song Yudong with Ricky Simone.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That's a good call. I forgot about that.
What's like a good title fight one?
There's been There's been Jamal Hill against Glover Teixeira. There's been
Yeah, that was a good one.
Charles Oliveira
That's a good
over
one, but
Beneil Dariush. There's been
no.
Well, I don't know.
But
I don't
anyways,
want to spend too much on this question, but you know. Oh, there was Max Holloway against Arnold Allen. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that was a good one as well.
I mean, in terms of like one-sided beatdowns, yeah, this is one of the best one-sided beatdowns.
John
we've
Jones
seen
Surreal
since...
Gone. Sorry.
I knew you were going to say
that,
but
yeah. It's probably one of the best one-sided beatdowns. Very reminiscent of probably like Holloway Cater, like one of those just really where were you moments. I'd say maybe the Holloway one's a little more iconic, but
you had to go that route.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. You know, as Max would say, that's legendary. I want to know, like, before we really get into like the actual fight, I want to know, like, how did you guys see this going, and if what you saw matched any of your expectations. So I don't know, Jens, if you want to go first on that. How did you see them two matching up versus how it actually went?
I saw Topuria kind of having the advantages in a lot of the aspects of the fight, but I really didn't think it was going to be as one-sided, mainly because of how tough and how ruthless Josh Emmett is, how, you know, fight-ending his power could be. I didn't see it being this one-sided, but I wasn't completely shocked that Topuria took control of the fight, but to this extent, I was pretty shocked. I mean, we can get into the semantics in a minute. I want to let Hayden answer the question first, but I had Topuria winning, but I did not expect like this in this fashion. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, so I kind of echo a lot of what Jen said, right? So when I watched my Topuria film coming into this, I really didn't even watch much Josh Emmett film because you kind of watch him fight once, you know what you get with Josh Emmett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really dug deep into Ilya, and my biggest thing was his pocket entries, and he loves to box in the pocket. Nothing wrong with that. That's one of his greatest assets to his game.
I hear you
But
on
there's
this.
there's not many people, like just talking, X's and O's, that can stand in the pocket and box with Josh Emmett. So I thought that Josh Emmett was eventually going to make him pay in 5 rounds. I thought there was a chance that would happen. Let me rephrase that. But with that said, my God, like yeah, I thought Ilya was going to win. Like like if I was a betting man, that's where I would put my money on. But my God, no, I did not see it be a 50-42, 50-44, whatever you call it. It looked like MMA boxing versus boxing out there.
Hey, I said that, motherfucker.
Right.
Stole that
But
from
Give me some credit. That's
I was going
damn.
Bro just bit your bar and
really
just moved
You
on.
didn't
Yeah.
even let me finish.
You did my whole fucking flow. Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
As I was saying,
Shit.
as said by Eric. But as I was gonna say, it's like we have another like Canelo in MMA now. Do you know what I mean? It was just the
Fuck up. What are you talking about, Canelo and MMA?
all right, carry on. I'll let you.
I mean, you could have said like Piotr Jan or something. This man's
Yeah.
just talking shit now.
No,
Sorry.
again, I'll let you guys. I'll let you guys go. Go for it.
No, keep going.
It's all
I'm
good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all
I'm
good.
fucking with you.
We beat
No,
him
it's all good.
down.
Good.
Sorry, I'm unhinged right now. Someone's got to
You
humble
good.
me.
Here, I'll take it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What really impressed me a whole lot about Ilya Topuria was just, now obviously he did get caught a couple of times. It didn't ever seem to wobble him at all though. But just mainly the defense of Topuria was just pretty incredible. I felt like his guard was amazing. A lot of Emmett's shots were either getting blocked by the forearms or the gloves. He did a fantastic job shoulder rolling, using kind of that little Philly shell. He was just he had Emmett's timing just down so well. Emmett would always kind of enter with that lead overhand left, and he would just take a nice step back and then counter back with it with like his right just kind of around the shoulder. Just beautiful stuff. His timing was incredible. He was just, his footwork was on point. Everything was just on point. It just seemed like he had Emmett's, all of his tendencies just kind of dialed up, and he was just ready.
I like what you said about his timing because I feel like early in the fight, again, watching a Josh Emmett fight, he mainly looks for that one shot where Ilya was able to, like you said, roll and answer back with 2 or 3. And then as like the second and third round started to pull on, Josh Emmett started to put some punches together, but it was Ilya looking back to counter with 1 shot, but it was him being a lot more effective, and that's when you started to see him score those knockdowns as well. Just wanted to tack onto that a little bit.
Yeah, to me, like, I mean, yeah, what Hayden was saying earlier was actually really on point. It did seem, I mean, okay, first of all, what I expected in this fight was I thought that, first of all, Ilya definitely seemed, I'm sure you guys agree with this, to make a point to like not wrestle whatsoever, to really just have a stand up, I want to get the finish on the feet, because I figured he had a pretty, well, I maintained he had a pretty, very sizable advantage on the ground because his ground game is really, really, really electric. And so I thought that'd probably be the avenue he would take to get the win. And then when I thought about this fight on the feet, I would think about Ilya definitely just has overall better boxing, but he's a guy that throws a lot of power shots, obviously as does Emmett, which just, leaves you in playing a very dangerous game, but for both guys between 2 huge power punchers. And but he did not look to wrestle whatsoever. And as Jens was saying, his guard on the feet defensively just looks really, really, really improved from where he is. I think this is just this fight, based on how it came together, as essentially kind of like a sloppy kickboxing match on the feet, where even if Ilya showed really, really strong boxing fundamentals in the context of like a general kickboxing match, not the highest level stuff. But to me, it was just like he won this fight because his fundamentals are better than Josh Emmett. That's kind of how I saw. And having those strong fundamentals just makes you more comfortable in different situations and doing different things and staying calmer in certain situations, and just gives you a huge advantage. So his boxing looked amazing. His guard looks really well developed. Defensively, he was awesome. and the way he used his jab to draw all of Emmett's attacks. Really, the whole fight with Ilya was jab and pivot to the left, or just kind of step off the center line to his left while jabbing. And after he threw that jab, Emmett would come with a wild counter that would swing because Ilya's always exiting off the center line, angling out. And then he'd stay in a position because he's comfortable in his fundamentals to kind of stay just right outside that line of fire off the center line and then counter right back. So just beautiful stuff. And Emmett, unfortunately, just never adjusted to that little angle off that Ilya was doing. If Josh Emmett just committed to like low kicking, because when you're doing that, when you jab and step to your left, you're moving into a right low kick. And Emmett, I mean, he threw low kicks, but never got to a point where he was making that read and timing the jab with the low kick. That's when
he was having his best moments, is when he was threading the punches behind the kicks with the calf kick. I think it was early on in the first round, but for some reason he got away. I don't know if it was something that he saw or whatever the case may be, but he got away from it for some reason. And also, I feel like, as you said, I feel like Ilya probably does have the advantage on the ground, but I feel like the defensive wrestling of Emmett is something to be said as well. That short, stocky wrestling frame. So I feel like that kind of made him a little hesitant. And I feel like Ilya was just so in command in the striking, he didn't even really think about it.
Exactly.
It was the fakes and the feints that was making, like you said, drawing out the reactions with Emmett, and also was beating up that low leg of Josh Emmett as well. Because I would say it was about round 2. That leg was pretty much drunk by the time round 3 hit for Josh Emmett. So I feel like he had a really tough time planting, covering range, and then, like you said, try to adjust to his shifts as well. Just to tack on to, like you said. No, that was it.
Go ahead. Frankly, either guy could have would land a low kick anytime they threw it, basically, because they're both like really heavy on the lead leg.
Somehow, both boxing influence stances for sure.
Yeah, I mean Emmett even more than Topuria because he has a real deep squat as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And Ilya just did a great job. He still threw like too many naked low kicks for my liking, but when he did get into a flow, like. Again, fighting behind his jab, which obviously was one of the biggest difference makers in this fight, was his commitment to the jab and angling off. But throw the jab, draw out the counter, and then, or frankly, actually 2 ways. Sorry, I'll backtrack. Just, again, going back to the fundamentals and how you react to different things and having strong, true striking / boxing fundamentals. When Ilya would either feint or throw that jab, Emmett would get a little panicky and really shell into his high guard. And from there, either he would feint the jab, land a low kick, because Emmett would freeze, or it would draw out a big wild counter from Emmett, which would put even more pressure on his lead leg, where Ilya kind of throws the calf kick while taking his head off the center line. So 2 things that really generate a lot of success for him with that calf kick that, again, Emmett couldn't adjust to, which was really frustrating. But yeah, like Hayden said earlier, you've seen Josh Emmett fight once. You've seen him fight a million times, right? But this was such a good showcase fight for Ilya. And, man, he was just on point the whole fight.
Yeah. Well, boys, before we move on to Strickland versus Abyss, whatever.
Abu.
This question gets asked after every main event, but I feel like this one specifically is an interesting question just because of like who this guy is and what's going on in the landscape of this division. But what is next for Ilya Topuria and Josh Emmett? And for me, I'm just going to answer the question right away, and y'all can just bounce off what y'all think. I feel like they have to give Ilya Topuria a title shot after this, not because he beat like a Max Holloway, who's like one of the greatest of the division. He beat Josh Emmett, which Josh Emmett's a really tough. He's a good fighter, but he's not one of the top 2 or 3 names. However, you got an undefeated prospect coming off of one of the best performances of the year, potentially going against the greatest featherweight of all time, arguably. This just feels like matchmaking made in heaven for Dana White. Like, this just feels like a home run waiting to happen.
So, like, I get what you're saying, too, especially to give the fresh meat towards Volkanovski. But, again, maybe it's just the business side of my brain thinking here. Why not throw him? I'm not going to say this is an instant win for him, but why not? And I feel like we're all going to agree here. Why not throw him with Brian Ortega, which is probably a fairly favorable matchup for Ilya. Ilya beats him, grabs more height, solidifies himself even more, and build that fight even more. To give Volk a little bit of time also to recover from the hair fight that he's coming into.
I agree. This division has had so much inactivity.
I feel you though, Genji. I feel you though.
Yeah. No, I just as an Ortega fan.
I see both sides of the coin. Right. But to Hayden's point, I'm like this division needs activity more than anything, and like, do we know Volk is not gonna try to fight Islam one more time if he beats Yair? Like, it's up in the air. Like, I'd love to see him get just stay active, and Ortega again very favorable, especially when you consider. I mean, look at Ilia Topuria's jiu-jitsu and just overall MMA ground game is unreal. It's so good, honestly. His wrestling. I've been watching a lot of Saryukian film recently, and Topuria's ground game, like there's so much stuff he does that I wish Armin would do. And I know we probably praise Armin's wrestling more than Topuria's, but I might argue Topuria's might actually be better.
As far as danger-wise, because I feel like Ilya will look for the sub a little bit more than Armin will. Armin's more position before submission.
I think Armin needs to look for the sub more, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, I can understand what you're saying.
Go.
Because you saw
that arm triangle that Topuria hit on Bryce Mitchell, Saryukin misses that every time.
Yeah, because
he lets so many arm triangles go.
Because you saw even in the, I think it was the Yusuf Zalal fight, he had like 7 submission attempts or something crazy like that, didn't he? You know what I mean? And the way he changes submissions together is another highlight to his grappling.
Stuff in like, and I know I'm getting off topic. I have another question to ask you guys right after, but even stuff like in the fence work, like Saryukin struck like. I don't want to get into Saryukin. I'm bringing it back to Topuria, but like just stuff where he fights for like working like single hooks on the fence rather than like, or like just different body lock stuff. He's just trying to end up in the guard rather than like doing more effective stuff.
Yeah,
like Topuria's so good at tying up the ankles, Khabib style, and there's just a lot of things that I wish Armin would take from Topuria.
I feel like Armin's more of like a Demir, right? Kind of like when they fought. There was a lot going on in that clinch, but a lot of it was kind of just like to negate the next move of the next guy, what he was trying to do. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Is not so much look for. I don't know exactly where I'm trying to go, but I feel like you know where I'm going with that.
So I do. So Topuria versus Volkanovski, hypothetically, I'll just give a quick thought right here, because I mean Topuria, he's the truth. He just proved he's the truth for sure. Volkanovski is a generational talent. He may end his career as the greatest of all time. We'll see how the next few years go. It's not out of the question. And what do you say? Like, don't get smirk out of here. He could.
He could. Sure.
He could. Why can't he? I mean, that's the opportunity's there.
You're right.
Yeah. So as you said, Ilya is the truth, but let the truth be told, Volk will finish.
Volk is the answer.
Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point here.
Right. My bad.
Just what I would say is, I think I just think he just gets it's a really competitive fight. It's really good. I just think Volk probably just outworks him. Just his volume's a little bit higher. He does a lot of things Ilya does well, but he works at like he just keeps a much higher work rate. And the calf kicks obviously I think he could really tear up Ilya's leg. And it's a great fight. I just think Volk just kind of outworks him over 5 rounds, personally. And I do have questions about Topuria's gas tank that didn't necessarily get answered in the Emmett fight because he was kicking the shit out of Emmett. I was encouraged by his gas tank, actually, because I had serious concerns that he gassed.
I did as well.
Too. So some of it alleviated, but it's still a little bit of a question mark for me. So that's kind of my early thought on a hypothetical Volkanovski fight.
Yeah, I think Volkanovski is. And I'm not here to shit on Ilya or anything like that, but I think the level of Volkanovski striking will show in that fight. I think as long as if Volkanovski can be on the front foot and pin Ilya on the back foot where he's not very comfortable, I think you can put him away in 2 rounds, right? I think, like you said, the calf kicks are going to be really important in that fight. I think the fakes, the shovel uppercuts and stuff like that. I feel like Volkanovski's striking level will show in that fight. And his style, as you saw in the Ortega fight, is kind of like what the kids like to call nowadays, like anti-jiu-jitsu, right? His defensive wrestling, defensive grappling is very, very high level. So I feel like that kind of, I don't want to say shouldn't be talked about, but I feel like that kind of gets canceled out and negated through a lot. So I feel like a lot of it comes down to the striking. And I feel like Ilya to Volk striking is, there's a couple of numbers in between the levels between Ilya and Volk striking.
I think Ilya could have gotten more success. I think you got to give him a little bit of credit. Like he could have some success on the ground against Volkanovski. I don't know what subbing.
But does he get there?
He could, man. His wrestling is unreal. He's got to commit to it. And
if Brian Ortega can take Volk down, I have faith in Ilya.
Exactly. That's exact. Like he's a. I think he's a different level.
I mean, there's not a lot of featherweights in the world that are Chad Mendez in wrestling.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? And there's not
No,
many
yeah.
featherweights in the
Dude,
world that are like Alexander Volkanovski, baby. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Volk's gonna have his hands full, though. I think we all can agree on that.
No, for sure,
That's
for
gonna be
sure.
a war if he beats
Okay,
Yair.
okay.
He has to get through Yair, guys.
True. Okay, so we're in agreement. Volk beats Topuria now. Not saying Topuria can't win at a later date with a little more experience.
Of course.
But okay. Topuria Max Holloway.
Again, that's a favorable fight. Excuse me, let me take that back. Sorry.
It's a tough fight.
That's not a fight that Ilya. That's not a fight. No, it's not that it's confused. I'm
Let's
just
speak
trying
out
to
loud
word
here.
it.
Let's speak out loud here.
Yeah, I'm trying to word it correctly. That's the thing.
Against a boxer, he's not dealing with. No one's dealing with a calf.
Right.
kick here,
It's
really.
like Arnold Allen is another one. I feel like Ilya would probably try to sidestep per se. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the Brian Ortega is the one that he'd want to take. So I feel like Max and Arnold are pretty tough matchups for him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Even Yair, I feel like Yair will just kick at him constantly.
I think
but
Yair
obviously
is a
he's
harder.
more tough.
I think Yair is a tougher challenge for him. I can't say that. I can't say that. Yair would give him problems for sure. I think
sure,
Yair
I
gives
agree.
Volk problems as well because it's just
Yeah,
so
sure.
much coming at you.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
sure.
And you're talking shorter guys.
hmm
I don't know. Topuria Max, I think just where Max is at in his career, he's still obviously fantastic, still elite of the elite. Man, I go back to the ground game, and I know Max has fought a lot of great grapplers.
He's not
And
the same
he's-
athletically, though, you know? So it's like.
This, I
It's
mean,
tough.
I feel
He didn't
Topuria-
really show any
Topuria is a
grappling.
different.
He didn't
No, I
really
know,
show
but
any
there's a
grappling in
catalog.
this fight either.
There's a catalog of it. Of it.
For sure, but against who? Yusuf Zalal's not Max Holloway. Do you know what I'm trying
Dude,
to say?
maybe I'm meat riding here, but even the scrambling in the fifth round against Emmett, who just like the beauty, it is remarkably effortless, and I just see it in the details of the little stuff, just the
No, I
little
know what you
techniques that
mean.
he employs in really select situations. I'm like, that is fantastic stuff.
Brilliant,
Just the little
yeah.
stuff, like the tying up the legs, some of the wrist riding he does, and always in attack mode for submissions. I might take Topuria if he fights Max. I might put the money there, but
I don't hate
That's
that.
just
That was a
me.
funny way
I
to
don't
word
hate
it.
that.
Might put the money there.
Yeah.
that's just me. All right.
All right, we'll leave it on that. So this next week coming up, we have one of the most random main events I can think of in a long time. That wasn't like
A bit.
a quick bout that had to get scheduled. Sean Strickland versus Abis, help me out. Oh,
Abu?
okay. Something Magomedov. I apologize for not knowing his. I'm just gonna call him Magomedov. Very weird. We got a guy who has been in the octagon for about 20 seconds in the UFC. It's not like he's the most decorated outside of the UFC. Fought for a
No,
PFL title.
No, but like
you
I
know?
said, I feel like at the time he was looking for a fight, a lot of people were booked, and apparently everybody was saying no. And you know who Sean Strickland is? He ain't
That's the
gonna
only
say
way
no.
this would make
And-
sense.
And I feel like it does too. To be fair, middleweight's middleweight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably true.
So this is what's interesting. I feel like Sean Strickland has kind of become the middleweight's litmus test for not even just middleweight. I just feel like he's
Kind of like the welterweight Neil Magny.
yeah, he's just kind of like I guess because he fought Emmett at 205 too. He's just kind of that that weight range's litmus test where it's like if you can't get past his skill set, you're definitely not getting past an Adesanya, a Whitaker, but
100%.
if you can beat
Sure.
him, then you certainly have some room to really make some waves. It's one of those things because he beat Imavov. He lost by split decision, Jared Cannonier.
Yeah, I mean
dominated
Strickland's not really an easy fight. Sure, he is probably one of the least prettiest guys to watch. Do you know
Right.
what I mean? But to be honest, this sounds so cliche, but styles make fights. Because Cannonier and Eric kind of brought me onto the ship. Cannonier is super duper high level when it comes to just bringing the fundamentals to another level, and he had a really tough time against Sean Strickland. And then we just saw him last week and put it on someone like a Marvin Vettori who's been in top 5 or top 10 for how long now?
Mhm.
And he also had a really tough fight against Whitaker with a broken forearm in the first round. Even Izzy said it. Izzy came in. He came in there with a great game plan against Izzy. So it's styles make fights. Sean Strickland's not really an easy test. I know that's a little off.
It's like what you said about Josh Emmett, where you watch one. I'm sorry, you watch one Josh Emmett fight. You kind of know what you're seeing. I feel like it's almost like that for Sean Strickland. I feel like he goes into
Absolutely.
every fight the exact same way.
Mhm.
He goes up with that tight guard. He's going to throw a couple of leg kicks, but mainly he's just coming in there to scrap. He has some underrated grappling, I will say that. I feel like people don't give his grappling enough credit. But you kind of know what you're getting. He kind of goes in there like he's sparring almost, you know? And he spars so much in training that like his sparring kind of translates into his fights where he's so good at maintaining range, and he knows exactly where he's in his own range and where you're not. He's just I don't know, he's just a really tough guy to deal with, mainly because of his tenacity, his pace, his chin outside of Alex Pereira. He's just a tough guy. So I just don't know a whole lot about Magomedov. And it's just hard to come up with a game plan or just kind of predict how this fight's going to go. All we've seen from him is a front kick and a left hook and a right hook that followed, or whatever the sequence was. And that's it. We've seen plenty of Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Here's what we'll find out. Because I really agree with what you're saying earlier about Sean Strickland being the litmus test. We'll find out, well, wrestling aside, just Sean Strickland in general. He's able to separate as kind of like whatever, the middleweight gatekeeper, whatever you want to call him. He separates like just the downright bad strikers from like the possibly okay ones, because like Strickland is a guy who he's had these performances specifically pre Alex Pereira where people are saying like his defense is like really, really good. Like the numbers he's putting out in terms of like opponent significant strike landing percentage, how it's so low. He has people confused where, because of the performances that he's putting on, people are convinced that his striking defense is like so high level, where when you really watch it, you could say anybody who's anything good in like a true kickboxing setting is going to tear that apart. All the bad habits he has, like all the open blocks and the rolls, and it looks so good against these low level strikers. And then he fights Alex Pereira or Whitaker or Adesanya. There's not many good strikers worth a damn whatsoever. You got Marvin Vettori, a damn,
His fight against Hermanson was a snoozer, to be honest.
Who, Strickland?
Yeah.
He's got a ton of snoozers.
Right.
I can't believe we're getting another Strickland main event.
I know, it's
damn,
kinda
can we
crazy.
stop booking Strickland main events? And they all go 5 rounds, obviously.
Right.
And it's just rinse and repeat. The whole fight's going to be in second gear.
Mm-hmm.
And
he makes people fight at their pace, or at his pace. He's just kind of, he doesn't.
If they're bad, yeah.
Right. That's one thing I think Dean Thomas said about him is just he kind of just brings guys down to his level, and he kind of just brings them into like his own fight.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I wish there was more to say about this fight. To be honest, I wish we knew a lot more about this guy in the UFC, but there's just not a whole lot about him. I'm genuinely confused. Like, why Sean Strickland, man? I get most people must have been booked.
They need new blood. They need new names.
That's true.
Like, they're grasping at straws. Like, they're trying to get him. We're talking with the Dricus Duplessis fight pretty often as if he has a chance against Whitaker, which is crazy. Because Izzy's talking Duplessis nonstop. Like, that's who he's desperate. So I think he's totally encouraging this matchmaking. He needs these new names.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad. I'm just confused, I don't think there's anything else to say about this fight. Do y'all have anything else to say about this?
No. Good co-main event, though. You know what I'm saying?
Co-main event.
Yeah, I love the co-main event.
Grant Dawson versus Damir Ismagulov. Very interesting matchmaking. Haydo, I know.
Yes, sir.
I know you spent a lot of time kind of thinking about this fight. You're a big fan of both guys. At least I know you're a pretty big fan of Grant Dawson. I don't know. Are you a big Damir guy?
Yeah, I like Emmett, but you said that beautifully. I was actually gonna not correct you, but I was gonna say I'm a more Grant Dawson guy than I am Damir, but I'm a fan of Damir for sure.
So,
but Grant Dawson's my guy.
Right,
that's my J right there.
Right. He's the dog. This fight is interesting because Damir against Sarukian. If I remember correctly, haven't had a chance to rewatch the fight, but he struggled. I want to say he struggled a lot, on the ground. Struggled a lot against the cage. Areas where Grant Dawson's very physical. He has some submissions on his record. He has some groundwork for sure. Do you worry about Damir on the ground against someone with the grappling prowess of Grant Dawson?
So, and I hate to be general, but this, as far as we're talking the wrestling and grappling, who's gonna win this fight in that area is who starts it. Whoever starts it is gonna win. Because if Grant beats him to the hips, he's gonna get it. But if Grant can't beat him, or if Demir ends up getting the arm in between, or whatever the case is, to throw a line of defense in there, he's gonna have a really tough time getting Demir down. Because if Demir is able to see it coming, good luck trying to get him down. But like I said, whoever can dictate the wrestling and grappling first will probably be able to dictate what happens from there. But every round starts on the feet, and that's where it's very interesting. Because the thing is, Demir is very... I like to call him the lightweight Magomedov on Goliath. Granted, different stances and stuff, but he's very cool no matter where the fight goes. Very fundamentally sound, very technical approach, slow. Everything starts from the jab, builds off the jab very well. Jab right hand, jab uppercut, 1, 2, 3. Very fundamentally sound. But the thing is with Grant Dawson, his style is to grind you out, put you on the back foot, and again, that's what Demir's teams have a little bit of trouble is when he's on the back foot. So I feel like whoever can dictate also the engagements on the feet is going to have the upper hand in this fight as well. And the way he switches stances with the knees, the way he chops low on the low kicks, and high-level strike in MMA. The way to beat a long jab is with the low kick, and that's one of Grant Dawson's best tools. So I feel like that's what it's going to be on the feet. It's going to be the battle of the jab and Grant Dawson's low kicks. What are you thinking, Eric?
I love it.
I like Grant Dawson's chances quite a bit in this fight. Based on a few reasons. One, like just career trajectory where both guys are heading. It's good to see Ismagulov stay active for sure. But
can I cut you off for 1 second and ask a question?
Yeah.
Didn't he say this is his last fight because he's like a man of his word to fight out his contract? Is there any truth to that?
Because he like retired after the Saryukian fight.
Yeah,
he retired
and then he
for
said,
like 5 days and then said, yeah.
Oh, okay, carry on. My fault.
Yeah, that's definitely a real thing. And Grant Dawson's hungry as ever. This is a guy who's been grinding for so long, and what is his record in the UFC? 6-0-1.
19-1. Oh, yeah.
In the UFC, he's like 6 or 7-0-1. It's just one draw against Ricky Glenn, I believe.
Correct.
That has held him back, just in terms of like the respect, the type of respect level where he's just not getting put into the rankings. I think now he might be like 15, but
no, he's been 15 for a couple of months now. He's one of those guys that's been flying underneath the radar.
Fair. Sure. I think Ismagulov can be far too committed to fighting at range where either it's just not enough damage landing where some close rounds can get a little bit too up in the air, but against a really heavy pressure wrestler like Dawson, I know he doesn't have like the craziest forward pressure, but I think he's getting there and he's leveling up towards that. I think he's going to be able to use that to his advantage against a guy who, is really stubborn about I need to fight at the inside, doesn't look to like, crash and hold his ground and all of a sudden pull you into a clinch or just not a lot of like big combination fighting on the inside. I think Dawson can use that to his advantage, and I just love the work that he does once he gets going in the grappling department, and his back takes are outstanding. He really grinds you out. A lot of great leg riding. Is a very, very simplified ground game, but it's just simplified to his strength so well, and that's all you need in MMA.
Kind of like a Curtis Blades.
Totally. And so where I'm leaning is towards Grant Dawson by rear naked choke.
I like it.
That's interesting. You're going by finish.
I'm going by finish.
A little third round Jared Gordon action.
That'd be Ismagulov's first time getting finished in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he even has a finish himself, like offensively. So I mean, you know what I mean? There's always a first time for everything, right?
Did he finish? No. Did he?
No.
Did he finish the Joel Alvarez fight, or what happened?
I think that went 3 rounds. I'm pretty sure that went 3 rounds. I'll bet my bottom button on it.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Because those are 3. He had 3 in 2019 and 3 in 2021, or 2 in 2021 and 1 in 2022.
And that's the other thing. Again, like I said, so committed to bouncing around and kind of pot shotting on the outside. A guy like Dawson just I think when he fought Jared Gordon, like late third round finish, like he just goes all the way 15 minutes, hard. And and so he's working towards a finish all fight essentially.
But now that I'm thinking about it, and I could be wrong here, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he fight Thiago Moises? Didn't he beat Thiago Moises? I should say, Demir Ismagulov.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Grant Dawson's boy as well. So that could be a little notch in the armor. Already beating somebody from that gym and knowing what they get.
I
Granted, two
mean,
different styles in
Moises
that.
and Dawson are so different.
For sure, for sure. But like I said, just a little thing like that. But I think a lot of it's interesting. I feel like the striking is what intrigues me the most because, like you said, I feel like he's starting to evolve his style and he's becoming that consistent forward pressure guy. But I love the way he switches stances with the knees and he's very crafty with the knees. Because the thing is, he'll switch out of stance, then come forward with a rear knee. He'll switch out of stance, come back with a left kick, or he'll step forward with the switch knee, or he'll step forward. Like there's so many different setups he has with his knee. He sets up his calf kicks from it as well. There's just a lot of good things I feel like he can back Ismagul up with and get him into the cage and really kind of control the grappling and the wrestling and the grappling. So I'm leaning Grant Dawson myself.
Yeah, I think I'm going
That's
with
a good
Grant
man.
Dawson too. Boys,
That's
Good man,
another good
Vince.
man.
I want to talk about just real quick before we get into the trivia, our final segment. I do want to talk about just for a split second. I just kind of want to bring it up. I don't even want to talk about it. Kevin Lee's back. I feel like not enough people are
Yeah.
talking about this. He's back.
Yeah,
Who's he fighting?
Renat Fakadinov, the guy that beat Brian Battle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy. No one's talking about that. Like Kevin Lee's back in the
So
UFC.
170.
Eagle FC's
yeah,
finest.
170.
I mean, he had a
UFC's
pretty
finest.
just the way he like, when the UFC like kind of puts that out against you that you're done, people definitely gravitate towards that and they agree with it.
Mhm.
And I didn't end up actually ever catching his fight against Diego Sanchez.
He tore his
Um,
ACL in the first calf kick.
Yeah,
he
like
caught.
right. And then from there it was like quite underwhelming considering it's like Diego Sanchez
Obviously.
and this ain't 2004.
Right.
And then how he left the UFC, I mean, Daniel Rodriguez beat the shit out of him.
He beat
He
him
had a
up after
couple
that second
moments.
round.
He had a couple. Yeah, Lee had some moments early, but you're talking a guy who just had skill wise, just what he on paper so damn good, but he's definitely been trailing off. And it's like it's not like he's super old. I know he's in his 30s now, but it's almost like I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the Anthony Pettis thing where you can see where he kind of lost that hunger and collecting huge checks, but the performance is going way down. So I don't know if
He's
that was
also
the case with
running
Kevin
into
Lee.
good guys, though, to be fair. Tony, Charles. Like, he's not fighting bums,
No, totally. No, I get it.
But I get what you're saying. It's been a rocky road
But
for
just
him.
we thought he'd be like at the top of 55 for
Right.
like
Even
hanging around the top for a long time.
Yeah, even
you
when
know?
he lost to Tony, people still felt like the potential was there because he gave Tony a very tough time,
Can you pull this up, Jens? What is his last 4 fights? Because there's something we're missing. Rodriguez, Oliveira. What's another one in there? I know D-Rod was his last fight. Did he have another fight at 170 before D-Rod? Hayden?
I'm thinking myself.
Off topic. Why does it have Islam's face for Kevin Lee? Anyways.
That is Kevin Lee. What are you talking about?
That's who Kevin Lee wants to be. Daniel Rodriguez, Charles Oliveira, Jesus Christ.
Oh, Gregor
Gillespie?
Gillespie, yes. I could not pronounce that. RDA and Ally Quinta, Edson, Tony.
Huh, it has been a while since
It is.
25. Yeah, that is a long time ago now.
Yeah, right.
2017.
6 years ago.
Shit.
You knew it was a
So-
long time you said Gregor Gillespie.
Freaking wish that dude would fight, man.
And yeah.
Well,
His fight against Diego Ferreira, one of the best grappling matches you'll see.
But oh my God, the pace.
Pace was
He got hurt
crazy.
so
The
much. He got hurt
scrambles,
so much.
transitions.
Crazy.
That's an amazing
Like,
fight. That's an amazing fight.
I'm a closet Gregor Gillespie fan because it's hard to be like a true fan of him because he doesn't fight. But once he fights, I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah. All right, trivia time, Jeff. What do you got?
all right, boys. I'm going to need one of y'all, whoever wants me, to pick a number between 1 through 4.
3.
4.
Well, fuck. I just need one of y'all to pick a number.
Well, I said it first.
Or you said 3 first. Okay. So, we are going to do... Boys, I need y'all to name me. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so there's 5 people tied for 7. But there's 11 names on this list.
Jeez.
I need y'all to name me
Okay.
the 11 people who are top 11 for finishes all time in the UFC.
Oliveira.
Oliveira's number 1. Hold on. Let me get the marker on here so I can... Okay, we got
I'm having a
Oliveira,
brain
number
fart
1.
today. I'm not having a good day today. I'm tired.
Oliveira,
let's
Derek
see.
Lewis.
Derek,
There you go,
let's
Derek
just go.
Lewis.
Let's go. Y'all bounce back and forth. Derek Lewis.
So does that
Okay.
Francis?
Francis is not on the list, believe it or not.
No.
It's actually very surprising.
He said,
Really?
Yep. The guy's tied for
Okay,
7,
back to
have
me.
13.
That's a lot of finishes.
Jesus Christ.
Back to me. I'm gonna go. Give me. God, we should be ripping names off right here. Give me. God, give me.
I got one.
Okay. Okay, go.
John Jones.
John Jones is not on the list, boys.
What are you
Come
talking about?
on,
He hasn't
boys.
finished a dude in 10 years.
Oh.
Y'all gotta
Besides Cyril
think.
Gahn,
Who's just
obviously.
I was
getting
thinking
dudes out of
early
there?
John Jones.
Who's getting dudes out of there? All time.
Jim Miller.
Jim Miller is second on the list with 17.
Yeah, I knew because Oliveira passed him. Matt Brown.
Matt Brown is number 4. I just erased all the markers.
Donald Cerrone.
Donald Cerrone is number 3. There we go, boys. Now we're picking it up. Who is just going in there?
RDA.
RDA is not on the list.
I'm thinking of big guys.
God damn, nobody had like a lot of these 205ers were kind of. Randy?
Randy is not on the list. Boys, there's like one name that's just like, what are y'all doing? Come on.
Okay.
I'm good at dates. I'm not good at list.
Dude, Hayden, come on.
This is crazy.
This is pathetic. I know our brains aren't turned on much, but holy shit.
I'm tired. 'Cause I look.
Okay, St. Pierre, no.
Nah.
Silva.
Anderson Silva, thank you. Number 5 all time. One of the best finishing streaks we've ever seen in the sport.
Yeah, facts.
BJ Penn.
BJ Penn is not on the list.
The Prodigy.
No.
It can't be any 35ers. Can't be any 45ers.
That's why I'm canceling out the little guys, and then like the big guys usually don't have long careers.
Well, like they'll do, but they bounce around from like UFC to other promotions, like all the 205ers. So I'm thinking.
No Guerra?
No, definitely not. Not enough time in the UFC.
No, Jock Wright's not there.
No. 85ers. Weidman, no, definitely not enough fights. Rockhold, not enough fights. Yoel Romero, not enough fights.
I know Izzy has like 16 finishes, but it's not all in the UFC, so he's not there.
Fuck no. It's 205ers and heavyweights that are on this list right now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Jan Blachowicz.
No, there are. Well, let me give y'all a weight class per person.
Sure, yeah, go.
Okay, we got a 55er. We've got a heavyweight. We've got a 205er. Okay.
Dustin Poirier.
Dustin Poirier, number 5.
Oh, wow.
The diamond.
Yeah,
Tied
that's the
with
55er.
Anderson.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the 55er.
You said a 205 or what?
We've got a heavyweight, right underneath Dustin.
Ben Rothwell. No, I'm capping.
It ain't that fat slob DC.
It ain't Stipe.
It's not.
It ain't.
Cain Velasquez.
No, it's not Kane.
No.
Not enough
They
fights.
may have like 6 knockouts back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah, but these guys are all
His
like
back
13.
gave
So
out.
they need to have.
No, I know. That's
They need to-
stuff.
It's not Shogun's not the 205er. Chuck.
No.
Not Vitor.
That's not a bad guess, though. I'm not mad at that.
Leoto?
No.
Rashad?
No.
Not Rashad.
either.
One retired recently. I'll give y'all that. The 205er. Oh, fuck. Never mind.
Oh, Glover.
Yeah. That was way too easy. Dang it.
Shit.
Yeah, I
getting
honestly I would not have thought of that, to be honest.
I know.
Hey, I'm
Glover's a
absolutely
sneaky
carrying
one.
this list.
That's all right. I told you I wasn't in the mood today for it. A little
Come
tired.
on, you're the boy.
I am. But I'm a little
How
tired.
many we got? How many we got?
There's 4 more, all tied with 13. We've got the heavyweight still. We've got a 170er. We've got 155, right? Yeah, 155er. Hope I'm not tweaking. Pretty sure he's a 55er.
Is anybody still active?
Yes. One's still active. We've got two.
Is he the 170er?
Yes.
The 170er who is still active. That has to be.
I'm drawing a blank.
Neil Magny?
Not a bad guess, but no.
He's got so many decisions. It's unreal. It's not.
It's not RDA either.
It's not Colby. Definitely. It's definitely not Camaro.
Definitely not Colby, dog.
No. It's.
Can't even think
No,
of
it can't be Wonder Boy. Vicente Luque.
Vicente Luque.
No, it's a good one.
That's
Robbie Law is a good guess too.
All right, we got a 55er and a heavyweight. For a heavyweight, think of just one of the most skilled heavyweights you can think of all time.
Brock Lesnar.
You're joking.
You
Skilled
said
heavyweights
skilled
all time?
Are you taking the piss? Because I already said Cain Velasquez.
No, I'm being serious. He's one of the most skilled heavyweights of all time. In a particular skill. He was, not super well.
Frank Mir.
Yes. Frank Mir.
God damn.
I said Nogueira, but I didn't say Frank Mir. What a stiff.
Now we've got
that 55er. I said Jim Miller. I said Charles Oliveira.
This one's a
And
tough
he's
one.
current?
No, I don't know. He's not still fighting. No.
Actually, so he probably retired recently then.
I don't know. That or I'm just stupid. Hold on.
Not Frankie.
No, not Frankie.
Fuck no, not Frankie.
Okay, he last fought in 2019.
In the UFC?
Yes.
At 55?
At 50, let's see. His last fight was
It's not your Uncle It's not your Uncle Jen's.
155. No, not
Jens
Jens
Pelver
Pulver.
hasn't fought since 2010.
He first fought in 2006.
He's a 55, a career 55er?
No, he's retired.
But
2006.
he's a career 55er?
Oh, career 55er, yes.
All right. You got to give it to us. I think this is too much dead air.
Throw out one more name. Y'all got one more name to throw out.
Edson No, he's still fighting. Okay, nope, I'm out.
Okay.
Let's go.
Hey,
Fucking
keep
Diego
moving.
Sanchez, I don't know.
Not a bad guess. Joe Lozon.
Lozon.
Oh, what a casual. You are a casual, was.
That
What
wasn't
a
bad
cat.
though.
You
Y'all,
are, Luz. You just.
hey, y'all got all but one, and Joe Lozon's a tough one.
No, yep, I should have known that.
I'm not disappointed.
Joe Lozon fought in 2019. I would have guessed he retired like 6 years earlier.
That's what I was saying, dude.
Because he had the Donald Cerrone fight that got canceled 3 freaking times.
Oh, right.
That's hilarious.
Nah.
Well, okay. Give me the list again, just like in order.
That's
Shit,
bad, bro. Him and Cerrone made a career off of bonuses, bro. How did I not think of that?
I do have a. Never mind. We're not gonna. So it goes Charles, Jim Miller, Donald Cerrone, Matt Brown, Anderson and Dustin tied at 5, and then we have Frank Mir, Joe Lozon, Glover Teixeira, Derek Lewis, and Vicente Luque all tied at 7.
Damn.
Nice.
Damn. All right.
That's
Well.
pretty surprising,
Yeah.
I have some saved for later on. I've got some good topics for y'all. Some fun ones.
Let's get it.
Okay. Well, anyways, do we have anything else? Y'all got anything else y'all want to bring up?
I don't really have a beef of the week or anything, so I don't know if you guys do, but
I'm cheering for Magomedov this weekend. Beat Sean Strickland. I need new middleweight blood. Let's go.
No
Ilya
more
Topuria
Strickland main
is the
events.
truth. No more
Oh, you know
Strickland
what?
main events.
you know what? I got a beef of the week.
Hit us with it.
Ilya Topuria fan base. Like, bro,
Really?
the 3 of us that you're looking at are Ilya fans. But, mate, some of the fan bases are very, very toxic. Like, I don't
Tell
know,
me
it's like
about it, dude.
I don't know if it's like a Spaniard thing or whatever, but bro, some of his fans are really, really, really bad. It kind of reminds me of like when Cheeto started coming up, when nobody knew who Cheeto was, and all of a sudden Cheeto won a fight or two, and then everybody was Cheeto's biggest fan. It
Right.
kind of reminds me of that vibe.
Or Charles, dude. Oh my lord. Talk about.
To me, every fan base sucks. So.
There's got to be a couple fan bases that are like majority.
Well,
of
it just if the
I've never-
fighter is completely non-controversial, like if it's
Oh.
Max Holloway, like no one's like, oh, Max Holloway
Or like
Like,
Wonder Boy.
I know a couple people that
Yeah.
don't like Dustin. I know one person that doesn't really like Dustin. Dustin, Justin, and Max.
Dude has to be a McGregor fan, right?
No, yeah,
Dude,
like,
he-
but he's
that man
not
has-
like a Conor Ryder though.
That man has hate in his heart.
I know,
that's
like
crazy.
those are
No,
three of the most
it's
likable.
Harry.
I just
Harry
can't
is-
take you serious if you don't like
But
three
to
of
him,
the best.
but to him, it's one of those. But to him, it's one of them fighters where it's like, you know how we all have
It's-
fighters where it's like, oh, I don't like him, but I don't really have like a reason exactly why I don't like him. It's
You're
kind of like one of those
contrarian. You don't
situations.
like what other people like for no reason.
Right.
Yeah.
He wants to be edgy. His profile picture is Usman's getting his head kicked in. You know, we get it.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. My boy Harry.
Shout out to Harry though.
Yeah,
Always
shout out
giving good
Harry.
takes.
I know he hates me, but I love you, Harry, with all my heart. I will not stop talking about Islam, Harry. I'm sorry.
Shit was ass.
Anyways, boys.
Fair.
Sorry. Well, that was our show. We got stay tuned for next week. We're gonna be covering a decision win by Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
And then what's
I swear to God.
the week after is International Fight Week, right?
You betcha. We'll have a big preview for that coming up. Let's watch the film.
Cannot wait. So yeah, we got a big episode next week. And then the week after that, we're going to have the recap. It's going to be a beautiful next couple of episodes, boys. All y'all stay tuned. Thank y'all for watching. Hit the people with y'all's plugs, as the kids would say.
At Eric Matty MMA. Follow me. At Last Round Was. At Flagrant.sports.
Let's go. He
Hit
even
the
got
follow.
the dot.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like that.
He's him.
Thanks for listening.
All right,
Peace out.
boys. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Later.